Welcome to Techstination, your destination for gadgets and gear. Here's Fred Fishkin.
Worried about car theft? Some things you can do. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from GM is Vehicle Security Lead George Baker. Hi, George.
Hi, Fred. How you doing?
Terrific. A pleasure to meet you. And we're in the midst of National Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. And the stats are pretty disturbing. Across the U.S. last year, 650,000 vehicles stolen, one every 48 seconds. Georgia, many of those could have been prevented, right?
That's right. And that's the objective of Vehicle Theft Prevention Month, is to get the word out to your listeners and to the great American public about the fact that simple precautions can be taken in order to reduce the likelihood that you will become a theft statistic. So we appreciate, Fred, the opportunity to get out some of those tips and tricks today.
Well, let's talk about some of the precautions, maybe some of the most basic ones to start out with.
Okay, everyone has a fob or a key assigned to their vehicle, and in most cases, more than one. And you really need to protect that key, because our estimation is about half of all vehicle thefts occur with the assigned key. So you want to treat that key fob as if it were an envelope stuffed full of $100 bills. So where you would protect that, you certainly wouldn't want to hang that envelope right inside your front door or the door to your garage, which is where many keys are stored, unfortunately, because thieves are now breaking into homes in order just to look for keys, credit cards, wallets, and purses, and then leaving immediately. So protecting that key is critically important. If you're outside and you've just parked your vehicle, you close the door and you hear a triple chirp on a GM vehicle, beep, beep, beep. That means something's wrong, and it's indicating to you that you may have left an authorized key inside the vehicle, and the vehicle notices that. So you don't want to leave that key there, because thieves can break in, they press on the ignition, and they drive away because there's a fob inside the vehicle already. So protecting the key is critically important, and that's the first of our three messages today.
All right, well, let's move on to number two. What's the second message?
The suspense is killing you, huh? The second is protecting the vehicle itself. Identifying good parking spots, making sure that if you have a garage that's full of other things, empty it out so that you can get your vehicle inside behind a locked door. And then even then, locking the doors on your vehicle and making sure that you retain the keys, because even garages can be penetrated, of course. So you want to be careful where you park. If you happen to be stopped at fueling, for example, you always want to make sure you defend your vehicle by locking the doors and taking the key with you. When you're driving as well, you might be at an intersection, and you want to make darn sure that you're not going to be exposed to folks that are looking for opportunities to put a gun to your window and demand the keys and drive away with your vehicle in what they call a carjacking. So all of those are opportunities for you to play heads up ball and avoid becoming a statistic.
What a concept. A garage is for a car?
That it used to be that way, frankly, back in the day, and it really is, all joking aside, an opportunity to help. But you'd be surprised the number of folks who leave the keys inside the vehicle, inside a garage, thinking they're protected, when in fact they're not as protected as they should be. So you got to still lock the doors, and you still have to remove the key. And then the third of the features is to make sure that if you have a system, a connectivity system such as OnStar, that you keep it active. OnStar this year is celebrating 30 years of providing connectivity, providing peace of mind to millions of subscribers. And we want to emphasize, particularly this year, that if an OnStar system is active, then we can locate stolen vehicles using GPS technology. We can send a text or an email or even call you to say that your theft deterrent system's been triggered. Your alarm is going off. Maybe you don't hear it, but to inspire you to do something about it at that point. We also can send a signal to your stolen vehicle to slow it down in order to avoid high-speed pursuits. So all of that has to rely upon a connected vehicle. And for model year 25 and newer, all GM vehicles sold in the United States will come with 8 years of connectivity, a basic package that allows you to use your cell phone to start the vehicle, to shut it off, to flash the lights, to sound the horn. And those are all helpful in deterring theft as well. So lots of messages there, but protecting your key, protecting your vehicle, and staying connected are the 3 key ones, pun intended, this year.
And you can work in conjunction with law enforcement as well with OnStar, correct?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we have excellent relationships with law enforcement. If we slow down the vehicle, it's only when law enforcement is on scene observing the vehicle. They give us the request to slow the vehicle when conditions are appropriate, and then they can ensure that the vehicle is safely slowed down and stopping traffic around the vehicle, etc. We always work with law enforcement when we're recovering stolen vehicles, and we rely upon that strong relationship with the law enforcement community in order to work collaboratively to recover these stolens.
Terrific. What other types of technologies might GM be working on, things that you find promising today?
Well, a good question. Some of the technologies that we haven't announced, I'm going to have to allude to, but we're looking at various different at the theft methods that we learn about during our outreach program, where I'm out teaching law enforcement about General Motors. They're teaching me about theft methods that they're seeing emerging in their market. Then I'm bringing that information back to our engineers so that we can either develop new technologies or recognize that we already have technologies on the shelf that are available. But a lot of it has to do with making sure that we can control access to the vehicle itself, and we can actually work on different interacting systems so that those systems more sophisticated are more difficult to defeat. Don't want to get too much into the details, Fred, for obvious reasons, but suffice it to say, we leverage these lessons that we learn from the field in order to continually improve the product and try to stay ahead of these organized crime groups, or OCGs.
Of course. There are some people who may see connectivity as a vulnerability in vehicles. Oh, somebody's going to hack into it and do whatever. Is that threat very real at all?
Well, we have a large cybersecurity team of sophisticated engineers, program managers. Their job is to make sure that they address any cybersecurity risks, attack vectors, if you will, that may exist based upon their analysis of our new technologies. And then we have others in the same team who, once those identified threat vectors or attack vectors are on a list, then their job is to go through each and every one of those to make sure that we address and neutralize that threat. So we're sophisticated with regards to that. Privacy protection is critically important to us at General Motors. So of course we take all the measures we can to ensure that we get the confirmation from law enforcement that this is a legitimate request for assistance, and we get the approval or validation from the vehicle owner that, yes, please proceed with working with law enforcement in order to recover this stolen vehicle. So we're hitting it from various different angles, and we think we've got it covered very well.
Right. And that connectivity has proven to be very valuable, often life-saving with OnStar over the years, the 30 years here.
That's right. 30 years ago, we were Project Beacon, and the whole premise back then, it was a very much a skunk works kind of discussion that we were having. And it was all about receiving a signal from the vehicle through the cellular network that an airbag had deployed, also receiving the GPS location, and GPS was somewhat new at the time, back in 96, receiving that GPS location, being able to speak to the occupants to confirm what was going on, and then to be able to link those occupants up immediately with the public safety answering point 911 center that had jurisdiction. So it was a little complex, but the concept was quite simple. And then a year or two later is when we determined we could use, in essence, the same technologies in order to help locate stolen vehicles. And 5 years later, in '08 or so, is when we developed the remote ignition block, allowing us to block the ignition remotely, as well as stolen vehicle slowdown, which is fascinating. And we've done it many, many times in order to avoid high-speed pursuits. So it's been an evolution over the years of OnStar technologies, and we're thrilled to be able to be making such a difference in saving lives and protecting property.
Terrific. Is there a place people can go to for more info, George?
Absolutely. News.gm.com is where everyone can go in order to find out more information about what we've been discussing, and just to get more info about what GM brings to the table. But even for non-GM owners, if they can remember, in particular this month, but also throughout the year, when theft is always a threat, to safeguard their keys, to protect their vehicle, to make good, smart decisions about where they're parking, where they're storing it at night, etc. And then to leverage technology such as OnStar to keep it active, then those three will work synergistically together to decrease the likelihood that they become theft statistics. So thank you for getting the word out, Fred. We really appreciate you, sir.
Terrific. Well, congratulations to you and the team there. George Baker, thanks for spending time with us.
My pleasure, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you for watching or listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And for more, you can find us at Techstination.com.
The Haven 10,000 lantern is a smartly designed, beautiful solar light that you will love indoors or out. It is waterproof with up to 1,200 lumens of brightness. That's a lot of light. And the base becomes a flashlight at the push of a button. The power comes from a built-in lithium-ion battery recharged by the sun. The solar panel is built in, or USB-C. The battery can even recharge your phone. Did we mention how durable it is? How it folds down and can run for up to 120 hours on a charge? But the real power of the Haven Lantern comes from the people behind it and their mission to provide this quality lighting to those in the world who need it most, including in disaster emergencies. Your purchase helps to fund those efforts, and if you use the code Techstination20, you'll get it at a 20% discount. That's Techstination20 at havenlantern.com. Create your haven.